How you doing, everybody? Happy Valentine's Day. I'm Orlando Ruiz Jr. Welcome to another classic movie review. In honor of Valentine's Day, I wanted to talk about a romantic comedy, one of my favorites from the 50s. So I'm talking about The Long Long Trailer, starring one of my favorite on-screen couples of all time, Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. Though this movie did come out in 1954, this is not a black and white film. This movie is in color. So watching this as a kid for the first time was really cool, seeing Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz in color, which was different from, watching them on TV in the old black and white beloved I Love Lucy sitcom. This movie was directed by Vicente Minnelli, and the story is you have a couple of newlyweds, Tracy and Nicki. Uh, so yeah, very similar there to Lucy and Ricky. At first, it kind of seems like a good idea to Nicki when Tracy tells him about the money that he would be saving in a trailer as opposed to owning an actual house. And so he goes for it, and they buy the trailer, and it has one disaster basically after another, with them going across country on a road trip for their honeymoon. And they end up staying with some people for a little while. They go to some relatives, and it's a pretty rough thing for him to pull that thing into the driveway. That's a hilarious scene. There is a moment where they want to pull off somewhere and have a little quiet dinner, but she wants to get everything ready in advance, so she decides she's going to ride in the back as he drives, and she thinks she's going to be able to cook a meal back there, when in fact it's basically like being inside of an earthquake the whole time. And Lucille Ball is one of the great physical comedians of all time, and this scene alone is one of the reasons why you should check out this movie. There's a great moment where Nicki is taking a shower, and the shower won't stay still. It kind of bobs up and down, and it just moves around, and it won't sit right. And so every now and then it'll move, and the water will get his nether regions, I guess. At least that's what we're led to assume, the way he reacts. Pretty funny reactions on his part. These two Hollywood legends were so professional, even if they were having a hard time in their marriage. You wouldn't see it in the material, whether you were watching an episode of I Love Lucy or a movie like this or one of their other movies that they worked together on, like Forever Darling. There always seemed like there was love there. The chemistry between Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz was so strong and so potent. Didn't matter really if they were going through something in their personal lives. If they were in a role doing a part, they committed. This is a movie that's filled with funny moments, but also the kind of moments where when they do have kind of a little bit of bickering going on, and things don't seem like they're all too well, you really do want to kind of root for these two to patch things up. So they're driving through Yosemite here in California, and they drive through the Sierra Nevada mountains, and there are some pretty hair-raising moments in a scene where they're driving up a mountain and then they're going back down a mountain. And I don't want to spoil exactly what happens or what the context is, but Tracy's character basically does something pretty dumb that puts both their lives in danger. I'm not going to say what, but while you're watching, it's both a little tense and hilarious given the acting in the scene from Desi Arnaz. The guy made some really beautiful little worried faces. This trip has some moments where it seems like everything is cool. Maybe things will work out for these two. And then, it kind of brings you back to those moments of reality where they feel just real enough to make you think this could happen to you. When Nicky takes the trailer out for the first time and he's dragging it with his car and he keeps forgetting about the trailer brakes, his moments of panic in those scenes are very, very funny because of Desi Arnaz's facial expressions, and the way his face will clench up every now and then, and those eyes, those big eyes of his just kind of bug out. If you're familiar with I Love Lucy, then you remember Lucy not having the best singing voice. And when you watch this film, you're going to think differently. This character does have a singing voice, so I just never realized that Lucille Ball had that kind of talent. I guess it also takes talent to pretend that you can't sing, which she obviously did on the show. But that was her character. Her character was the wife that wanted to get into show business, and her husband had all the talent, and she was, there to kind of just make him look foolish every now and then when she tried to break into the act by not being as talented as he was. But Lucille Ball That was a talented woman. And had Lucy and Desi not had gotten divorced, they might have kept making movies with each other. And so, yeah, you kind of wonder about that. What would those have looked like or been like? But they were definitely a couple that is burned in that time period in terms of just being stars of yesteryear. Lucille Ball will forever be one of the greatest comedians of all time, and Desi Arnaz to me will forever be one of the great unsung heroes of back in the day when a lot of actors of Spanish nationality or Cuban nationality or Mexican nationality weren't getting the recognition that they might get today. And to me, Desi Arnaz will always be one of those guys that should have gotten more recognition for what he brought to the table. And I always thought he was a good actor. Lucille Ball is one of my favorite comedians of all time. To me, she's one of the funniest people to ever walk this earth. To me, she's up there with people like Red Fox and George Carlin and Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy and Steve Martin and Jim Carrey. And I'll always appreciate watching her do anything, whether it's a movie or a TV show. I'm there for it. And if you're a fan of I Love Lucy, if you like that show, if you grew up watching any of that old stuff, and if you enjoy a good old comedy from the 50s, this one is definitely worth checking out. The Long Long Trailer from 1954. If you want to have a good laugh, I highly recommend this, especially for Valentine's Day, since this is a very sweet and very funny little romantic comedy. I give this movie 3 stars. I believe you can find The Long Long Trailer on streaming, but if you want to get yourself a hard copy while you still can, while there might be a few floating around out there, they got the DVD. This is my copy of a DVD of The Long Long Trailer. As you can see there, a couple of big old heads on little bodies, and the trailer there in the background. The great Lucille Ball, the great Desi Arnaz, the Long Long Trailer from 1954 in Technicolor. Thank you very much for watching this classic movie review. I always appreciate it. If you're a new viewer, if you're into old movies, if you're into this kind of thing, hit the bell, subscribe. If you're a returning viewer, thank you very much for supporting this little old channel. I always appreciate it. Please don't forget to comment, share, like. It always helps out. And please don't forget to look out for the next classic movie review. Take care of each other. Happy Valentine's Day. Peace out. God bless.